Let me talk a little bit about the New Play Initiative. I've had a number of people ask about the New Play, having never heard of it because it's a new play, and also, they'll say, "What are you doing? Sticking a new play into, a Shakespeare festival." But what I always say is Shakespeare wrote new plays, and if Shakespeare's company had only produced their classics, we never would have gotten Shakespeare's plays. So I feel a certain responsibility, we all do here, to nurture new American verse plays. Maybe not just American verse plays, but new plays that are in the spirit of Shakespeare, which is to say, share some of the key characteristics of Shakespeare's plays, the things that make Shakespeare's plays Shakespearean. It's interesting, I just went to a conference last year where that was the central question. What is Shakespearean? What is, essentially, Shakespeare? And I went and presented on this idea, saying that that's exactly the question I'm asking as I'm reading all of these new scripts. And it seems to me that because we don't want to just produce any new play, we want it to have some kind of a tie to Shakespeare. So whether it be thematically connected, a play about Shakespeare, or a reimagining of one of Shakespeare's plays, in the way that Shakespeare's plays were reimaginings of his classics. Only 4 of his plays were, we think, original, plot lines. Or, on the other end of the spectrum, just a play that that shares characteristics such as poetic language, heightened theatricality, like I was describing earlier, that kind of theatrical imagination, and universal themes, a play that anyone can come to and connect to in some way. And I think Failure, a Love Story by Philip Dawkins is a perfect example of that. It absolutely shares all those characteristics, and it has inspired our entire company. I mean, it's the kind of play, when I read it, and I read a lot of new plays, and actually the way that I came across it was Philip, we did a new play reading series last summer, and one of Philip's plays was one of the plays that we did a staged reading of, and it was a very good play. It was directed by faculty member Sandy Zielinski and featured members of the company that summer and the intern company as well, and I believe even some members of the local community. And it was a good play. It wasn't quite the kind of play I was looking for, and I talked to Philip afterwards, and I described the kind of play that I was looking for, and his eyes lit up, and he said, "Actually, I have a play I'd like you to read." And I thought, oh, sure. Everyone has been saying that. But he gave me this play, Failure, a Love Story, that got a world premiere earlier this year at Victory Gardens. And I was about 2 pages in, and I thought, I think this is the one. And I kept reading. And it's everything I was looking for. It is a play that the whole family can enjoy. It is a play that is both happy and sad. It's a play about death, which is kind of Shakespearean. A lot of people die in this play, a lot of people die in Shakespeare's plays, but for some reason it's a celebration. I mean, it's a celebration of life. Everybody knows that. I mean, we find out in the first 15 seconds of the play that the 3 Fail sisters, that this is the year that all 3 Fail sisters die. But for some reason we still forget that at some point and think, well, maybe, And the telling of the story is so full of life and so full of joy, and that's the idea. I mean, that's why Philip wrote the play, to be a kind of to illustrate a triumph of love over loss. And on the first page of the play, in his playwright's notes, he invites any theater company producing the play to be imaginative in telling the story. And he says, I want you to get your fingerprints all over this. So there's a chorus that helps tell the story. And he said that could be 2 people, that could be 100 people, that could be puppets, it could be monkeys, I think he said. And when I read that, I immediately thought of Andy Park, who is the artistic director of Quest Ensemble, a puppet company in Chicago, and a hugely imaginative theater artist who has directed for Cirque du Soleil, on Navy Pier up in Chicago and over in China. He's a former apprentice at Bread and Puppet in Vermont, where I've also spent some time, and I just thought he would be a perfect fit. And he has a composer, Scott Lamps, who he works with some regularity, and they have a great kind of connection. So this became a kind of collaboration with the Quest artists and ISF, and boy, has it ever worked out. I mean, the playwright, who is actually on his way down right now, I'm going to leave and pick him up in just a couple of minutes to see the opening night performance. But he came down to see the second run-through during our rehearsal process and was blown away, because the two productions that had been done of this play beforehand, the first cast was 7 people and the second cast was 5 people. But because we're a Shakespeare company, we have a lot of actors. So we have a cast of 25, I believe, somewhere between 25 and 30, that help tell this story. And we are incorporating large-scale puppetry and beautiful original music. I mean, the play is almost a musical. And Phillip was blown away by it. I mean, he said, I've never seen the play done like this, and it may never, get to be done like this again. And so that's what I mean about this production being unique. And it is odd, and it is funny, and it is beautiful, and it is sad. Our preview went so well, people came out saying, it's hard to describe what I just saw, but I'll never forget it. And I think that's right. And there's always a risk involved in producing new work, because again, nobody's ever heard of the play. But I'm hoping that the community will come to embrace this idea that we are trying to nurture brilliant artists. We're celebrating Shakespeare while looking for the next one. And I hope that becomes a point of pride. And I'm confident that the word of mouth will spread about this show. I'm confident that it already is, because it really isn't a show to miss. So come see it.